Saving migratory birds, reducing collisions and protecting stopover sites in Chicago. A message to Chicago lawmakers, including the Chicago Department of Planning and Development by Melissa Curth. They're just birds. Why should I care? Well, on October 4th, 2023, over 2,000 birds collided into the McCormick Building in downtown Chicago. This flight path, called the Lake Michigan Flyaway, is used by over 100 million birds during fall and spring migrations. Birds provide ecosystem services such as provisioning, regulating, cultural, and supporting services, which are used as indicators for environmental health. We can protect birds by protecting and restoring their stopover sites. These sites are used during fall and spring migration for birds to rest and refuel before continuing on their journey that is typically thousands of miles. Protecting and restoring these stopover sites can increase biodiversity and the amount of ecosystem services that can be performed. Recognizing important bird areas and maintaining stopover sites will allow for more accurate assessment of Chicago's ecosystem health. Neotropical migrants that utilize degraded stopover sites experience lower rates of abundance, showing that this is fruitful. Bird safe architecture is another option that we can utilize to help protect birds. In 2024, the McCormick Building implemented bird safe film, and this resulted in bird strikes dropping by 95%. Bird collisions remain the same for other buildings in Chicago that did not implement these measures. If that doesn't mean much to you, I'm sure you don't like seeing bird carcasses. On top of that, they also attract foragers like rats, and I'd rather keep New York as USA's rattiest city. All right, they're important, but do bird collisions have any impact? Yes. With going back to birds being good indicators of ecosystem health, this is because birds are incredibly sensitive to change, and decreased bird abundance makes it incredibly difficult to track the effects of climate change. All right, so what's the alternative? Implementing glass with a UV reflective coating will help birds as they can only see within the ultraviolet range. This can be expensive, but Charlie Rizzo and Mark Toth, the founder and sales director of Skyline Design, found that adding bird safe markings to glass will only add 3 to 10% to the total cost. And if that price still scares you, glass isn't the only option. Reflective film can be utilized as well. Hasn't Chicago already implemented a policy? Yes. In 2019, bird-friendly ordinance was brought before the courts, but in 2020, this amendment failed to pass. Also in 2020, the amendments of Chicago's Sustainable Development Policy to prioritize bird safety deterrent strategies for building projects to reduce avian mortality passed. But have these regulations been enforced? No. So, what can Chicago do? Chicago can enforce current regulations already in place by implementing bird safe glass and reflective film. Restoring and protecting stopover sites can also be done by employing volunteers and designated teams to monitor sites and remove invasive species. While these costs may seem steep, the benefits birds have far outweigh the reservations policymakers may have. Thank you so much for your time.